Okay, well, not another day goes by when you can't really wonder where the world is headed, you know? You can't really expect people to, get along and get together and share ideas because our governments around the Western world, it's been like this in Eastern countries. I mean, look at China and shit like that that, really try and just control everything aspect of your life. And if you think that the government is there to help you in the world, you have definitely, missed the plot. So in the UK, they passed this online safety bill. It's to regulate online content, but everyone knows what they actually want to do. They want to control you. Now, there's nothing wrong, and it should be up to all parents what children do and do not access online. It shouldn't be up to the government to get their hands into things. The internet is a wonderful place, and it's full of wonderful ideas and abilities to do. Now, it's also full of awful, terrible things, but that's just the nature of humans. Humans, if you go in the street, it's the exact same thing on the street as is with the internet. There are terrible people on the internet. There are terrible people in real life. It's that's not something that'll ever go away. So basically, in the UK, they have this Online Safety Act, and basically what it is just totally trying to control what people use on the internet. The UK's digital landscape underwent significant transformation, yet on Friday, July 25 to, let's say, 7 years in the making, now fully being enforced. This is like the exact same shit as China. How can these people say that they are much better than, this Chinese Communist Party? They can't say shit. And this is in the making for the Western world. These are things that just happen. They want to control what you talk about. They want to control your ideas. This is authoritarianism because they realize they can't control the population. And honey, did you post something negative about the regime? Beautiful meme. But yeah, I mean this kind of shit. It's like, yeah, like, do we really want to get into what people are and are allowed to know? So this is like the things. The UK's child safety bans all the following: fictional depictions of stories, judging which makes sense. You know, but like, where is the line? If it's truly a good thing, then you would think that it is entirely stopping and halting the types of shit that actually is bad. But where does it lead to? And you're seeing this all over X. Now, X has been the epicenter for freedom of speech and free thought movement on the internet. It is, to me, it's one of the greatest platforms ever made. It's just a free message board for people, and it with a slick interface, and a lot of cool people on there. But of course, they hate it. Governments, westernized governments, absolutely hate it. So you get people repeal the Safety Act, and like, of course. Um, they're trying to control you. It's like, wake up, people. And here's another thing that they really want to stop. The Online Safety Act, the UK makes speaking against this illegal. Yeah, like they're going to stop these kinds of thought experiments of people just sharing ideas. They don't want that. And the internet came up. I've been around on the internet as long as its inception, back to dial up, CDs of AOL and shit like that. You you always felt like the internet was something tapped into a greater existence. Free speech is over in the UK. Here's what the government can now do with the Safety Act: scan your private messages. Oh, Now there could be some good uses for that, obviously, getting a hold of people who are actually doing bad and committing crimes. But do you really want the government in your, private messages and, monitoring you online? Now, anyone with a brain knows that you basically are online non-anonymously. Most people, like me, are perfectly okay with everything they have on the internet just being like, this is who I am. I've got nothing to hide. I don't care. But things like censoring protest videos on X and YouTube, force ID checks and facial scans to access social media, silence dissident, even Wikipedia is under threat. They want to control people. This is like their whole thing is that they just like, and don't think you're different in the U.S. and in Canada. Now, definitely the Trump administration has done some good things for as far as promoting free speech and doing that, but all these agencies like people's whole thing is that they love to control other people. That's like the defining nature of humanity is that often people just want to control other people. And you'll see that in like your boss, like your, crazy uncle and your Karen neighbor. Like you will see that in every aspect of human society. And as soon as you learn that that is the like defining nature of people, you kind of accept it. You're just like, yeah, whatever, I don't give a fuck. It's like even people in my comments, like even there are people have been in my X account and YouTube comments literally saying I should delete my accounts. It's just like asking me to control me. Like it's like no, are you fucking dumb? Like yeah, I have control over what I do on my platforms. I mean, nobody else has that. And if you give people surrender that control online, I mean, you can get yourself into a lot of trouble. And you know what? Fuck what people think. But I mean, that goes to show you the way people are. Is that people will try and control you on the internet, and that is in itself is a dangerous thing, but you just have to just say whatever. Major websites like Pornhub, X, formerly Twitter, Reddit, Discord, Blue Sky have already committed to the following new users with over 6,000 users hosting adult content. Well, adult content is its own specialized niche that's pretty grimy to begin with. You know what I mean? Like it's like it's not like the most important. I'm sure some people out there would agree, but it's not the most important thing to me about this. What's important to me is that the UK and the greater part of the Western world seems to be moving towards a world where we're, checking this about you and taking government ID photos and like we are we are at the time when the internet is so part of our regular life that our identities are just fully on the internet. You are totally on the internet. And yeah, there are some arguments to say that this is probably a good thing for that, but my feelings on the internet and young people is that it should be up to the parents. I mean, the parent needs to be monitoring, not like going through their kids' phones and stuff, but you know what? Like sit them down and say that like, yo, like people online will try and like manipulate you. Like they just have like it and teach them this very intelligent way that like don't don't listen to people on the internet. Just don't. Like people on the internet are, form your own opinions, form your own thoughts, but ultimately like it's up to the parents to really teach about the nature of the internet. And I think with more millennial parents than ever, that were born at the dawn of the internet, we understand it so well and we're able to just talk about it, you know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, we have this UK safety bill, and for me, it doesn't really care because it's not my country. But for me, it really kind of it resonates with how, like Online Safety Act, what are the new measures to protect kids? Online Safety Act, how to keep children safe online. This is what the BBC is rolling with, but my real my real thing is that they are totally going for internet censorship and control. Yeah, reject all. Well, kick me out of this. New legislation designed to protect children in harmful content online has been met with fierce opposition from campaigners. Uh, Colors show no sign of backing down, sharing Farage's X writing. If you want to overturn the Online Safety Act, you're on the side of predators. It is as simple as that. Huh. it's it's not so much that we're siding as people. It's that you are very much controlling what people do online, and that is Orwellian nightmares. Bill to protect the safety, and these things are always just like oftentimes like hidden in the truth of the matter. They're hiding these things in that. So first that they say that they're protecting from kids, then they're collecting your personal information, then they're censoring X posts about protests. And then they're allowing this kind of thing in the world of that. And that's the thing, is that protect kids from harmful thing. I just saw a post on Reddit the other day about a person who had a trans surgery, had male to female, so had his, Johnson cut off. And he said he's like deeply regretted it. It's painful. I'm ashamed. It's the worst thing I've ever done. And you know, you can't help but think that these people got like this is online threat. That they're showing this stuff. They're doing that kind of stuff. And it's all about control. And they're VPNs, yeah, but I mean, the average person isn't too much into that. And yeah, that's like the Online Safety Act in the UK obviously is to control. It is like there's no way around that. That they're not like just trying to control people. It's weird for me, and I'm a pro free speech person. I've always been pro free speech person. Every person should be allowed to speak their mind, and by clamping down on that, it leaves a very sickening feeling in your mouth. That's the exact same kind of thing that you have. So it's a sign, and I don't know why people in the UK put up with these kinds of things, but uh, yeah, it's pretty obvious what they're doing for age verification. So I mean, did they until X is like, is this really hard to do? Because we've been around, anybody who's been on the internet for a while is like, are you 18? Sure. Scroll through the thing, click on that you're like, born in like what, 1940 or whatever, and click OK. It's like, do they need you to like upload a picture of yourself and verify it with your government issued ID? That kind of stuff is very weird, and that is like you got to really be wondering what they're doing. And like the central idea behind that usually is that they're collecting personal information on people to make catalogs of people. The Chinese Communist Party is way ahead of people on this. Way ahead. You have no idea. Every single person has like an identification tag. They know where every single person is in their society, what they do, who they are, what they spend their money on. And that's how they keep their society in check. That's how they keep all these, like, dissidents, and this is how they operate, is that they do that. In the Western world, we have less of it. Sure, you've got, your censuses, and you've got your taxes, and your job, uh, information, where you work and stuff. They can find anything out about you. And we're going to a world where we're less and less free every day because of technology. And think about like 60 years ago, you could just like slip into the ether. Like in the 70s, you could just become like a just complete nomad, just roaming the land, and like, nobody would know who you are. Well, nowadays, that there's so much less of an ability to do that. And now they just want to get everything. The gaming community was already having to deal with the new rules on Discord as previous. Now Discord, I'm gonna go on a limb and say there's some pretty foul ass shit on Discord, because it kind of totes itself as this anonymous talking site. So I mean, like accessible adult channels on Discord. Like, ugh, I can only imagine the gross shit. What they need to have is they need to have task forces that go after anything bad about that on the internet. They don't need to just censor every person on the internet. They need to be responsible for taking that off of the internet, not just stopping everybody from getting on. And let's go through extreme measures, 10, 15 years. What's next? There's going to be like internet privileged cards or something, and instead of anybody just with a connection just clicking on browser and you're on the internet, now you've got to go and register something. Now you got to get a card, an ID number, to to click that. So I mean, it's very scary stuff. It's very, very scary stuff.